Hi, welcome to the Sheepish Podcast, Episode 3, Technology Hates Me. I'm Holly, your host. Today is Monday, November 12th, 2012. Yeah, the reason why I've titled this Technology Hates Me is that this really seems like it's the 11th time that I've recorded this. It's probably 5th or 6th at this time. Yeah, I had corrupted files, I've been interrupted. Yeah. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right in. Thank you. If you're a returning viewer, thank you for coming back. And if you're brand new, welcome. Let me know what you think. So let's go ahead and get started with a welcome to everybody that's joined the RAV group this past week. And I'm grabbing my notes so that way I have everybody. So welcome to Joanna from Indianapolis, Shayla from Louisiana, Renee from South Carolina, Pat from Washington State, Shiloh from Virginia Beach, Dawn from California, Annette from Arizona, Cece from Maryland, Meg from Sydney, New South Wales, Ray from Washington State. Also, Ray, love your avatar. I'm not so much a fan of the team, but I love your avatar. For those who haven't looked, Ray's Ravatar is a Bruins logo, and Bruins equals hockey equals me happy. Anuska from Sweden, and Allison from Ontario. Welcome to everybody this week. And this is, and if anybody joined today, and I didn't get you, I'll get you next week. I pulled this list yesterday when I did the first of the recordings. So, yeah, let's just go ahead and get started with the current roster. So, first up on the roster, there's been a slight change to the roster from last week. You guys can probably guess what, but I'm very happy about it. So, first up is the Owl Sweater by Kate Davies. And as you can see, it's grown a lot. It's grown a lot since you've last seen it. I've actually had some time to work on it. I am working with Plucky Knitter Bulky in the Narragansett Gray colorway on US 10.5 Addy Turbo needles, 32 inches. Should be happy. I'm loving the yarn. I'm loving the color, even though I still maintain it's not gray. It's blue. It's gorgeous. I am still not alternating skeins. I haven't had a reason to, or I really haven't seen a reason to yet. So, bad knitter, no cookie, oh well. I'm a little worried about this project because when I bought the yarn, there were 7 balls left of this. I bought 6, because that's what the pattern says I needed. And then I started making changes. I decided that I was going to lengthen the area between the decreases in the back, and that I was also going to knit this to 17.5 inches because that's the ideal length for sweaters for me. I learned that from Amy Herzog's Knit to Flatter class. If you haven't taken that class or you get an opportunity to, you should. It's awesome. But I digress. So when I went to pick up that 7th ball, see if it was still there, somebody had picked it up. Now, according to my math, which is not all that great because math is not my strong suit, I should be able to get this out, like just eke it out of 6 balls. We're going to see. We're going to see how close I actually get. I'm a little worried. So I might be stalking some RAV D stashes to see if anybody's got a ball of the Narragansett Gray. We'll see. I'm hoping I don't have to, but if I do, I know that Ravelry, you can find just about anything on Ravelry. This is quickly outgrowing the project bag that it was designated for, so yeah, I think that this is probably going to just end up holding the body, and I'm going to have to find another bag for the sleeves, or just find a bigger bag. I have a bigger bag somewhere. I just don't know where it is. But yeah, so that's the first thing on the current roster. Next up, in this bag, the bag is by Yarn Pop, and I'm not sure what they call it. I know they don't call it a project bag. It might be a large notions bag, or I could be wrong and they did, but on the tag that I used to have for this bag, it didn't call it a notion or a project bag. But it's fitting a small project very nicely. So this is brand new, and this is the Buckingham hat. And if that sounds familiar, there's a good reason for it. Last week when I was driving home from Pennsylvania and I stopped by the Yarn Garden in Carlisle, I picked up the kit to make this. And so I decided to cast it on. It takes 2 balls of the Blue Sky Alpaca's Royal Alpaca Petite. Oops, let's see if we can get that to focus. There we go. It's a little washed out, but... And this is the antique black colorway. And it's a really easy pattern. I've got this on a US 20 Addy Turbo needle. Now, the thing to remember about... Oh, and it's a US 2. The thing to remember about Addy is that they have weird sizing for their US 1 and US 2s. Their US 1 and US 2s are what we would normally consider US 1.5s and US 2.5s. So their US 2 needle is a 3.0 millimeter needle. And I actually like the fabric I'm getting with that. I don't think that I'd like it as much, even with that 1/4 millimeter difference. So I'm glad that I used these. These are what I had on hand. Since I prefer knitting with Addies, it's just kind of what I go to. It's my go-to needle. The hat itself is really, really easy. I made progress since yesterday's recording. But even though it's knit on a fingering weight yarn on US 2s, it's really super, super quick. And all it is just a series of ribbing that changes every so often. So I've actually just started, no, I'm actually about halfway through or close to finished. I don't know. We'll say halfway through the 3rd type of rib before I go into the 4th type, and then eventually into stockinette stitch. I am knitting this for my guy as a belated birthday / early Christmas gift. I've knit him hats before. I knit him hats last year, and he says they're too big for his head. He wants something that's really, really snug. So I figure that this is actually fairly snug without cutting off circulation, but it's also alpaca, so it's going to be super warm. So I don't think that he's going to have an issue with this, and if he does, he gets no more knitted hats from me. But yeah, that's why I'm doing this in black. It was a request. So yeah, I'm knitting on black fingering weight yarn on 2s and rib. I might be crazy. Who knows? And finally, on the current roster, is also a new to you project. I decided that with getting rid of one thing that was on the roster, I should pull out something that was being partially worked on, or that had been half worked on. Or as Katie from Knitting on the Fly calls it, a hoe, a half-finished object. So I went for a pair of stockinette stitch stripy socks. This one I actually knit while teaching a top-up or toe-up class at Fiberspace at some point in the spring. And once I actually taught everybody how to bind off, and I used the Jenny's Surprisingly Stretchy bind off, which is my preferred bind off, I just kind of put it down. These are a simple stockinette stitch, I think 64 stitches, and right here, you might be able to see it. It's a little subtle, but this is where I've got my waist yarn for my heel, so I can do an afterthought heel. Oh, we've got somebody new. That's George. He's not paying attention, but I'm in his seat, so. And then this is the toe. I immediately cast on for the toe and worked my way through the brown section when I originally did the sock, and then put it down. So I've worked my way through all of the increases on the toe, and this is now going to be purse knitting, because it's at that point where all I need to do is just knit in the round and it's completely mindless. I am knitting these, on Addi Turbo lace needles, and they're both 24 inches, because I'm knitting them on 2 Sarks, my preferred method, on their US 1. So these are 2.5 millimeter needles, and it gives me the ideal fabric that I need. And whenever I'm out looking for sock needles, I always look for 2.5 millimeters. So hopefully I will blow through these. I am determined to have these on my feet by the end of the year, because they're just so pretty and fun, and possibly get another pair of half-finished socks off the needles. We'll see, because one can never have too many pairs of hand-knit socks. So there's that. That's living in the little piddly. I know that a few of you have messaged me and asked me about the bags that I use, so I'm trying to remember to tell you guys about them. So yeah, that's the current roster. So let's move on to the alumni roster. We have a brand new member of the alumni roster, and you probably can guess what it is. But if not, ta-da! The Hermione's Everyday Socks. I am so excited that these are done. Not that they were a slog or anything. You guys have seen over the past 2 weeks how much I've sung the praises of the pattern and the yarn. But I just wanted to be able to wear them. And I have not done that yet. I have not washed or blocked these, simply because I don't necessarily believe in blocking socks. They're going on my feet. Everybody's different about that, though. They will probably get a wash before I wear them, unless it's really cold tomorrow, which they say it might be. In which case, then I'll just put them on and wash them later. These were done out of the Another Crafty Girls Strong Sock Base in the Mel colorway, Mel from Flight of the Conchords, on my signature 1.5 needles, US 1.5, so 2.5 millimeter. You've got an Eye of Partridge heel, and this really cool garter stitch edging on both sides of the heel. And one thing that I love about it, let's see if it'll focus, is that all of the knitting going this way, all of my picked up stitches, it's not as obvious that they're picked up. I mean, a sock knitter knows that they are, but I like how it just kind of looks like it organically grew that way. So I'm really happy, very proud of these. I love them to death. I will probably knit another pair of Hermione's Everyday Socks, because they're just that mindless but fun. So there is that, the alumni roster. Hooray! Okay. So this episode will be shorter than the last ones because there's no stash enhancement. Not for this episode. A few reasons for that. I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to put myself on a little bit of a yarn diet because, Lord knows, I've got plenty of yarn. I really do. I mean, I ran a yarn shop for almost 7 years. I got plenty of yarn. And I've got the Magnolia Club shipments starting. And at some point this month, I'll get my first shipment, and it's a sweater's worth of DK weight yarn. It's the Madtosh DK, and I believe it's the Poppies colorway that I picked. It's whatever the bright red is, because it's that perfect red that I've been looking for. So I'm looking forward to getting that. I have no clue what I'm going to knit out of it, or knit from it. But yeah. Also, found out that my mom watches the show, and while she knew that I had a lot of yarn before, she doesn't need to know all that much. She's going to find out. Hi, Mom. So we're going to go straight to what's new in the queue. So the scouting report for what's new in the queue. And really the next few projects that I'm going to choose will come from, or some of the next few projects that I choose will come from this book, The Big Book of Knitted Monsters by Rebecca Danger. There we go. And that's for a couple of reasons. I actually haven't knit toys, and I'm curious, why not? But also, a dear friend of mine passed away a few weeks ago, and she leaves behind 4 wonderful boys, ranging in age from 20 months to 10 years. And while I know that they are well taken care of, I mean, their dad's awesome and has a lot of help, and all of their friends are doing whatever we can to help. I thought that they might be able to use a little something to love on, to tell secrets to be able to say, this is mine. So I'm going to knit 4 monsters from this book. I've not figured out which ones are going to go to which. I know at least one of the monsters will be in Notre Dame colors because my friend was a huge Irish fan. Huge Irish fan, so one of the monsters will be in Notre Dame colors, and that'll probably go to her oldest because he would understand what the significance was of that. So, yeah. I'm going to knit at least 4 monsters from this. We'll see how the monsters go. Like I said, I've never knit toys. There are people who say they're fun. There's just lots of small fiddly parts, and I'm going to have to remind myself that I love these boys dearly. I love these boys more than life itself, so that's why I'm doing this. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, that's what's new to the queue. So that leaves us with what's making me happy this week. So what's making me happy, the first thing I want to do is give a huge thank you to Annette K18 on Ravelry. She gifted me a random act of kindness. She gifted me a pattern, and she sent a quick note saying that she really hoped that I liked it, as it was the only one that was on my wish list. And the only reason it was the only one on my wish list is that I'd forgotten how to add things to my wish list. I actually looked that up the other night and went, oh, that's all you have to do. So, but no, I really did. I mean, it's something that I've seen, and I really do want to make it. So she gifted me, we'll see if this will work, whoops, the Chandal cardigan by Triota Murphy. And let's see if I can get that a little bigger. Oh, bless you, iPad. So you can see that it's a nice cabley cardigan, but it's got some good drape to it. It looks like it would be that great cardigan to just kind of put on with jeans and a t-shirt and just hang out and be warm. The pattern calls for, I believe in my size, 7 to 8 skeins of Mad Tosh Vintage. I'm kind of kicking myself for that one because I had 8 skeins of Mad Tosh Vintage purchased for a sweater, purchased for another sweater, and I used 2 skeins for a class that I taught at Fiberspace this past winter. I might be taking and ripping out that sweater so I can use the other 6 skeins, because those skeins won't get used for anything else. I have it in the golden, or not the golden, the glazed pecan colorway. So it's like a golden brown. I didn't know if it would work with my skin tone because it's so yellow, or it's so gold, but it's warm enough that it really does work and doesn't make me look jaundiced. So, and I love it. Heart. So yeah, I might be ripping that sweater out to knit this. But we'll see. I love this. Thank you so much, Annette. It's like she knew that I needed that pick-me-up early last week because I was having a stressful week. So, yes, thank you. Next up, I just wanted to wish a belated birthday, and now it's 2 days late, but a happy belated birthday to Lipsraw on Ravelry, Renee. Her birthday was on Saturday, so happy birthday. I hope you had a great birthday. I hope you had some fun and got some nice things. Fibery stuff. And then finally, what's making me happy are glasses. Yeah, I know. Glasses. Weird, right? So I have been looking at warbyparker.com for glasses for ages. I know people who've gotten them on there, and they've said nothing but great things about them because they're affordable glasses, but part of me's like always been like, this is too good to be true. Well, I finally just decided to go ahead and buy them. I got a prescription on Saturday because I hadn't been to the eye doctor in ages, and my old glasses broke because I hated them. Well, they just weren't sturdy, and they cost way too much, and I was talked into them by the person at the shop. And they broke, I guess, after about a year's use, and I just never decided to get them repaired. So I went back to my old glasses, but those lenses are so scratched up that using them for 5 minutes, while it helps me focus a little bit more, it gives me more of a headache than anything else. So it's time for me to get new glasses. And when I got an email from Warby Parker this past week saying that all the new holiday frames were out, which I'm like, holiday frames? I decided to look, and they've got a great virtual try-on. You upload a picture of yourself, and you can try the glasses on. But they also have where you can order up to 5 sets of frames, and they'll send them to you at home so you can try them on and get everybody's opinion. I actually did that earlier this year and ended up not getting anything. But with these specific frames, I really liked how they looked on the try-on screen. So once I got my prescription on Saturday, I knew that they're doing like a bus tour of the U.S. Last month they were in the Philly area. This month they're in the D.C. area. So I wanted to see where the bus was going to be. It was in Georgetown. So I decided to brave traffic going into Georgetown on a Saturday night. I need my head examined. So I could try on these glasses in this bus. And they basically converted a yellow school bus into a showroom. And they've got all of their frames there. And they were packed, but they, as much as a school bus can get. But they were so friendly, and I ended up getting, I thought I was going to go with like the darker frames, and I ended up getting the lighter frames, which are green. But they actually looked really good on me, so I'm looking forward to getting them. I will probably podcast with them just to show them off at least the first time. At least right when I get them, because I'm a nerd like that. But yeah, so that's what's making me happy this week. So for everything else, kind of like the catch-all, you may notice that there's a little bit of a change in scenery this week. I've decided that I want to try and get things like be able to bounce lights off of walls instead of just kind of letting it peter out into nothing, to avoid some of the issues that I had last week with lighting. So in doing that, I picked the chair that you guys have been able to see at an angle if you looked at the first 2 podcasts. So I picked the chair, which is the cat's chair, which is why you see George coming and going on here. But I've also put a very bright light right in front of me. And it's got like 5 different heads, and I've got them going in different directions. And I've set up the camera slightly differently. So we're going to see how this goes. This might be where I record from here on out. We'll see. I think that having something back behind me to bounce light off of is going to help. Let me know what you think about the lighting, though, because I think that it might look a little yellow. But I also might just be seeing that because that's what I see in real life. So let me know. I can always get whiter bulbs. I was looking for the daylight friendly bulbs, and it seems like we're out of them here, so it's a small trip to the store. But yeah, so thank you guys for coming back. If you are returning, if you're brand new, again, welcome. If you'd like to reach me, You can reach me on Ravelry as Knit Girl, spelled conventionally with no strange spellings or numbers. I am Sheepish Podcast on Twitter and on Flirk. You can email me at sheepishpodcast@gmail.com, and you can visit the blog for show notes at sheepishpodcast.wordpress.com. And I'm also on iTunes. So you can subscribe on iTunes, and you can leave a message, or you can leave a review there. I'd appreciate that. The one review that I have there is really very sweet, and I know I acknowledged it last week, but I looked at it this week because I needed a pick-me-up. Yesterday I needed the pick-me-up when I was dealing with all the technology issues. So thank you again, Mari. But yeah, and I'd love to see everybody chat some more on Ravelry. I've actually put up a question, just kind of asking what kind of knitter you are. Are you a selfish knitter? Because I tend to be fairly selfish. Are you one of those knitters that you knit for yourself a lot, but you give some things away? Or are you that person that knits for everybody else and never knits for themselves? I'm curious. We're coming up on the holiday season. I'm not going to say how far away that big holiday is, and if you celebrate any others, those holidays are. I'm not going to be the one to point that out. I think it's slightly crazy pants that I'm knitting a hat to try and get that done in time. Yeah. Crazy pants, but we do it. We do it for those people that we adore. You know. Those people that have proven themselves worthy of the knitted goods. But on that note, I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully this will work and upload with no problem, and I will have no corrupted files. But anyway, have a great night. Have a great week. Happy spinning, knitting, crocheting, and if you sew, happy sewing. Have a good night. Bye-bye.